Which fast food chain has the most locations on Earth? You said McDonald's. Everyone says McDonald's. It's Subway. Over 44,000 locations at its peak. More than 100 countries. More locations than McDonald's has ever had. Anywhere, at any point in its entire history. And it gets weirder. Subway didn't win because the sandwiches were better. It didn't win with better marketing, or more money, or a smarter founder. It won using one decision so simple it sounds fake, made by a 17-year-old who couldn't even keep his first restaurant open. Here's how a kid with 1,000 borrowed dollars built the biggest restaurant chain that has ever existed. Bridgeport, Connecticut. Fred DeLuca is 17. He needs money for college. He goes to a family friend, Peter Buck. Peter Buck is not a restaurant guy. He's a nuclear physicist. He hands DeLuca $1,000 anyway, and the two of them open a sandwich shop called Pete's Super Submarines. It fails almost immediately. First month, barely anyone walks in. And here's the decision that turns into 44,000 sandwich shops 40 years later. DeLuca's response to failing is to open a second location. You can't make one restaurant work, and his gut says the fix is to open another one. Because a business with two locations looks like it's succeeding, even if both of them are losing money. People trust a chain more than a single struggling shop. That single instinct, grow first, figure out profit later, never leaves the company. By the mid-70s, they rename it Subway and start franchising up the East Coast. But here's the part that actually matters. Subway had real competition. Companies with real advantages doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. And every one of them lost. That's the real story. Toronto, 1968. Two guys named Jack Levinson and Earl Linson open a sandwich shop called Mr. Sub. Same formula. Fresh bread, fresh toppings, made in front of you. By 1993, Mr. Sub is at roughly 300 locations across Canada. Not a small player, a genuine national institution. If you were Canadian in the 80s, Mr. Sub wasn't the underdog. It was just what a sandwich shop was. In the States, Blimpie, founded in 1964, a full year before Subway even existed. And Quiznos, a bit later, built around one clever idea: toasting the sandwich. Three companies, three real advantages over Subway. Mr. Sub had a 2-decade head start in an entire country. Blimpie had a year's head start in the same country Subway started in. Quiznos had a product people genuinely preferred. All three lost anyway. Not because their food was worse. Ask anyone who ate at Quiznos in the 2000s, plenty will tell you they liked it more. They lost because of one specific difference in how Subway approached growth. And once you see it, you'll spot it in every industry you've ever paid attention to. Subway didn't grow by opening restaurants. Subway grew by convincing other people to open restaurants for it. Opening a McDonald's takes real money. Fryers, grills, walk-in freezers, expensive real estate. Opening a Subway takes a prep counter and a bread oven. No fryers, no grills. Closer in cost to opening a coffee shop than a restaurant. Lower cost to start means more people willing to take the risk. More people taking the risk means faster growth. Faster growth means more locations, which means more visibility, which makes the next person more confident about signing up. It's a snowball, and Subway built the steepest hill in the industry for it to roll down. Subway barely owns any of its own restaurants. It never really did. Every location is owned and run by someone who signed the lease themselves and carries all the risk. Subway just collects a cut of whatever comes through the door, win or lose. Mr. Sub franchised too. So did Blimpie and Quiznos. Franchising wasn't the secret. Appetite was the secret. Subway's leadership treated raw location count as the actual prize. More stores, more leverage with suppliers, more of the logo in more people's line of sight every single day. Mr. Sub grew like a sensible business grows, carefully, protecting what it already had. Picture two kids opening lemonade stands on the same street. One perfects the lemonade and slowly opens a second stand once he's saved enough. The other goes door to door telling every kid on the block, "I'll teach you exactly how to run this. You keep most of the money, just send me a small cut." Within a year, there's a stand on every corner, run by 20 different kids, all sending money back to a kid who never made a single cup. One of those is a good lemonade stand. The other is an empire. Subway built the empire. Everyone else built a good lemonade stand. When Subway pushed into Canada, it wasn't really fighting Mr. Sub for lunch customers. It was fighting for something more important: the people willing to actually open the next location. Every franchise chain depends on finding regular people willing to risk their savings and sign a lease. That pool isn't infinite in any city at any time. When Subway offered a cheaper, faster path to ownership than Mr. Sub did, it wasn't just adding competition on the street corner. It was pulling from the exact same pool of ambitious people Mr. Sub needed to keep growing. Mr. Sub's slowdown tracks almost exactly onto this timeline. Not one bad decision, a slow redirection of the one resource both companies depended on. The same aggressive instinct that let Subway out-recruit its competition almost destroyed it a few decades later. A single Miami franchisee starts offering footlongs for $5 to drive traffic during a rough economy. It works so well, corporate takes it national. You know the jingle. Sales explode. New customers flood in. For a company that gets paid on revenue, not profit, this looks like the greatest marketing decision in company history. Then, it becomes permanent. Customers refuse to pay more, even as costs keep climbing. And Subway takes its cut off revenue, not profit. So whether a franchisee is making money on a $5 sandwich or losing money on every single one, corporate still gets paid. Hundreds of franchisees eventually revolt. Some threaten lawsuits. While that was boiling underneath, Subway was building something else that had nothing to do with sandwiches. While McDonald's and Burger King were taking heat over obesity, Subway positioned itself as the fast food you could feel okay about. The face of that campaign? Jared Fogle, who said he'd lost 245 pounds eating Subway. The campaign ran 15 years, one of the most recognizable in American advertising. It worked because Subway sold a feeling, not a nutrition fact. A footlong stacked with extra cheese and mayo isn't exactly health food. In 2015, Fogle was arrested. Subway lost its most effective marketing asset overnight, zero warning. Two crises stacked on top of each other. Store count declines for the first time in company history. For a moment, it looks like the aggression that built the empire might be the thing that kills it. But here's the difference between Subway's crisis and what happened to Mr. Sub, Blimpie, and Quiznos. They faded quietly. Subway's crisis was loud, public, ugly, the kind that forces a company to fix itself under real pressure. 2023, Subway sells to Roark Capital for $9.6 billion, the biggest restaurant acquisition in history at the time. New menu, real franchise support, and active recovery. Recovering from a position of massive global scale that Mr. Sub, Blimpie, and Quiznos never built enough of to even have this problem. Mr. Sub was, by every measure a normal customer cares about, a genuinely good business. Real loyalty, careful, sustainable growth. Ask anyone in 1993 which company looked like the smarter long-term bet. They'd say Mr. Sub without hesitating. But a good business and an empire are different skills. Building an empire looks reckless from the outside, growing faster than you can fully control, treating profit as fuel instead of a reward, squeezing some franchisees along the way. Subway won because it multiplied faster than anyone in its category, and because it understood, years before most industries figured this out, that in a franchise business, the food was never the product. The product was the system that convinced someone else to open tomorrow's location for you. Mr. Sub, Blimpie, and Quiznos all built a better-loved sandwich shop. Subway built a machine that manufactured sandwich shops faster than anyone could build loyalty to a single one of them. A 17-year-old with $1,000 borrowed dollars from a physicist. Not a business plan, not investors. Just a kid who failed in month 1 and decided, against all logic, that the fix was to open a second location instead of saving the first. 40 years later, that decision, scaled harder than any competitor was willing to try, became more locations than McDonald's has ever had in over 100 countries. And somewhere along the way, 3 genuinely good companies got left behind. Not because they made worse sandwiches, because they built businesses. Subway built a machine. And at scale, the machine always wins.